There we are.
Hey, look at that. Well, man, oh man, it has been quite the adventure so far this week, 2Ks, but we're here. I'm out of shape. I'm fucking winded. I am winded, and then that should not happen running upstairs real quick.
No. We're not cut out for that.
No. But we are here. Thank you, everyone, for kind of hanging in there with us. Now you can see us. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. It is Kyle, 2K's back in the building.
I am back.
Mr. Deer Slayer himself. He is back. We are back. In this week, 2K Crew, we are going to talk about, we'll break down some news. There's a couple things that have happened that I want to kind of bring to the listeners' attention, and then we're going to get and I've actually had a lot of people ask me about this. I'm going to give you the floor for a little bit. Give us your just kind of thoughts, feelings on the Michigan situation. Then we're going to dive into the Michigan-Ohio State game happening next Saturday. And if we have any time left, we're going to break down what's happened on with the NFL so far this week. So let's jump into the news here, 2Ks. We've had our first really big free agency signing as far as baseball is concerned. No, it was not Shohei. Mm-hmm. It was not a lot. It wasn't the other Japanese pitcher. It was Aaron Nola deciding to stay in Philly. Which I thought he was, aside from. I honestly don't. I don't include Shohei in this because I really don't think he's a pitcher right now.
Sure.
But in my eyes, he was the best free agent pitcher. Mm-hmm. So to kind of take that off the market this early, kudos for Philly. Yeah. Kudos for Philly. It shows me that they're ready to add to this team that went pretty far this year and see if they can't get over that hump.
Yeah, and baseball is so much of just getting hot at the right time. This Philadelphia team, they seem like they really peaked there at the end of the season. Obviously, they go in the playoffs. They beat who everybody thought was the best team in all of baseball, in the Braves. They were able to go through them. Unfortunately, ran into a team that maybe peaked at a little bit of a better time than the Phillies. Talking about the Diamondbacks, kudos to Philly. The Phillies. They get this deal done early in the offseason. No questions about it. He's their ace. He's been their best pitcher. He's kind of been their go-to guy for how many years now. So to finish it all up, I think it's a great move.
Me too. And I was kind of as far as a Red Sox fan, I had him kind of pinned as my favorite free agent pitcher on the market right now. But it is what it is. Philly keeps him there, which I don't blame him. Mm-hmm. I don't blame him at all. So for those of you that are on YouTube, thank you for watching. Thank you for joining us. And if you are on the Facebook page, facebook.com/group/2K Crew, answer 2 questions and I'll let you in just to make sure you're not a robot. And for those of you following on Twitter, yes, this is our 3rd week. I believe it's our 3rd week on Twitter. So let me know how the Twitter experience is. I've never watched a live show on Twitter, so 2Ks, I was down here, like I said, 2 weeks ago, just screwing around with stuff, and it's like, oh, you can now stream to Twitter. Okay, might as well.
Yeah.
Might as well. And speaking of Twitter, we might have very first sponsor coming up, which we'll talk about off air, but we'll tease it to the viewers here, Mm-hmm. So fingers crossed that happens. Big shout out, Brandon. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you. Well, 2Ks, now that we've kind of, is there any other news that kind of popped off? I mean, we'll talk about some of the college football stuff and the NFL stuff here later in the show.
Yeah, some big things happened in college football last night.
Yeah. One thing that didn't happen was my first NBA bet to cash. Fucking hook got me. The hook got me. Paul George, I hate you. I'm never betting on you again. But nonetheless. 2Ks, let's give these fine folks, and for those of you that are on the podcast side, on the audio side, thank you so much for listening. Give us a follow and leave us a review. Let us know. I'm actually able to see those now, and I actually get alerts to when they are posted. So whichever platform you're on, give us a review. Let us shoot up the ranks, and let everyone know how awesome we are, because we know we're awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's always nice to see that people are actually listening and enjoy the words that come out of our mouth. So 2Ks. Thank you, Brandon. Twitter is now X. No, it's still Twitter. It's still Twitter. I'm definitely not going to say I'm tweeting on X. No, I'm tweeting on Twitter. I'm not Xing on X. So thank you for that, though. 2Ks, the floor is yours, my friend. I don't know how you want to go about this. If you want to kind of give us a progression. I mean, the 2K crew we've went over and I've kind of explained what's going on. So we really don't need that side of it. But I think because you are such a Michigan fan, you are. I mean, you got your Michigan hoodie on. Yeah. You definitely have some thoughts and some insight on this, and the 2K crew want to hear about it.
Sure. Yeah. Well, for one, I mean, just to start, it's just been, very, very unfortunate that this is happening, that this is going on. It's just been kind of a shadow that's been casted over this Michigan team, and to me, it kind of takes away from the success that they've had on the field this year. And I think we're getting next Saturday will be, potentially the two of the best teams in all of college football squaring off against each other. College game day is going to be there. Basically, the winner, punches their ticket to the playoff. Really, regardless of what happens, even though I can't see either one of these teams losing to Iowa in the conference championship game, but I just have a feeling that this story that has been, the last month and a half about Michigan is going to continue and be the story leading into this game this weekend. And it's unfortunate. I'm not going to sit up here and say, that Michigan's not wrong, that Michigan doesn't deserve, what they've gotten to this point, that Harbaugh, as far as with the 3-game suspension, Harbaugh obviously not going to be on the sidelines for the game this next weekend. But I don't really know. They really haven't released a whole lot of evidence other than this, this Connor Stalions obviously went way beyond the rules of what he was doing. Partnered up with a booster that was involved in all of this. And unfortunately, when something like this happens, whether JimHarbaugh knew about it, whether he didn't, and I'm kind of leaning on the side of he didn't. You guys can all call me Michigan homers, whatever the fuck you want to call me, but I don't think that Harbaugh really had any idea that this shit was going on. But somebody has to pay the price, and it's going to be the head coach that pays the price on this every single time. So I think the 3-game suspension, I think it's fair to this point. Hopefully they go on to win this game, and it doesn't matter. He'll be back on the sidelines when they face off against Iowa in that conference championship game, and then we'll see him on the sidelines when Michigan punches their ticket to the Final Four playoff. But it's just been a huge distraction, and I feel bad for mostly the kids involved in all of it, because regardless of what was going on with this whole Stallions thing, I think it's pretty safe to say Michigan would be undefeated regardless of what was going on right now at this point going into this game. And at the beginning of the season, really the only team that we saw on the schedule that could potentially beat Michigan is Ohio State. But Maryland gave them one hell of a game yesterday. But I think it's a little bit of there's a lot of distractions going on, and eventually this team has to, kind of have a little bit of a letdown game. And I think that was yesterday. At least I hope that was yesterday, and then they move on, get their shit together, and get ready to go for this Saturday game coming up. So, that's really all I have to say about it right now. We'll see how things go. I don't think there's going to be anything more on the whole topic until you get through the off season. I don't see the NCAA doing anything. They've been a fucking joke for how long now?
Ever.
The Big Ten, they laid down theirs, and maybe next season they have something more that comes up. Maybe Harbaugh leaves and goes to the NFL. I don't know there's just a lot of what ifs, but I really don't give a fuck about anything next season. To me, I'm looking at what's ahead of us right now.
Yeah.
And nothing. You lose this game to Ohio State this weekend. Nothing really fucking matters because it's over after that. So they just have to keep on looking to what's in front of them, and that's all they can do.
Yeah, you are correct when you say that the people that are affected by this most are the players. Indeed, hands down. I mean, this is I have a hard time believing that the players knew what the hell was going on. Just like you said, some of the coaching staff had to know, but did Jim Harbaugh know? I doubt it. I doubt it because what now? If it comes out that he did, then that's a whole different story.
Oh, for sure.
But as prolific of a coach as he is as tenured as he is, and as the NFL, the college stuff, I mean, he's pretty much entrenched, so he knows the rules. And yeah, I would just find it completely out of character and just completely just off the wall if he actually did know what was going on. But like you said, someone's got to take the fall for it. Unfortunately, someone's got to take the fall for it. So, and when it comes down to it, it's easy. I have a feeling what you're going to see is, regardless of some of the talk leading up to this, like, oh, Michigan's going to leave the Big Ten because of this. I don't see that happening. And I've said it time and time again. I was like, what a suck my dick move would it be for Jim Harbaugh to be like, I'm not going nowhere. Yeah, this is where I want to be. Now, is he flirted with the NFL a couple times? Absolutely. Sure. But this is one of those I would be more entrenched if I was Jim Harbaugh at Michigan because of this. Yeah. And you're not going to push me away. You're not going to push me away because of something like this. Yeah. And you could see it in the team. It is galvanized them.
Well, I don't think there's a I'm not saying that there's not obviously very, very close relationships with other college coaches and their players, but I don't know if there's a college coach that has the type of relationship that he has with his players. I mean, I think that was a major factor of him coming back this season. He just knew that this team was special, that they had, guys like Blake Corum decided to come back when they could have went. Obviously, 3 or 4 guys on that offensive line were probably good enough to go and be drafted, and they decided to come back. And major guys on the defense decided to come back. And I think that was just a major reason why Harbaugh decided to come back. And now I look at all this shit that's going on right now, and the possibility that I think there's a very, very good possibility that J.J. McCarthy decides that he's going to come back after this season. I know they're losing a lot, and it'll be a little bit of a challenge for Michigan to be as good as what they are this year, and then the schedule next year is going to be a fucking gauntlet. Yes. But if McCarthy decides to come back, I really think Harbaugh's not just going to leave him. No. I just think there's a really good chance he comes back, and if there's one thing with Jim is I don't think he's going to pull like a Pete Carroll, where if he knows that there's going to be a lot of trouble and that Michigan's going to, if he sees something like that's on the radar and that could potentially happen, I think he sticks around and kind of rides that wave and gets him back to, he's done what he's already done everything you could have asked out of him. I mean, this program they were fucking dog shit when he took over this job. And it took some time. It took a lot of time. I think it took a lot more time than what some people, kind of thought it would take. But he's finally got this program back to that elite level. I mean, we're talking they have the opportunity to win this game next weekend and punch their ticket to the playoff 3 straight years. Now it's not the conversation of, is this team good enough to get to win the Big Ten? Are they good enough to get to the playoff? Now we're talking, okay, are we good enough to beat those elite programs, those other elite programs, the Georgias, the Alabamas, and that's what they haven't done yet. That's what they haven't, to this point. So, but he's got them back in that conversation. And if you go back, 6, 7, 8 years ago when he was just taking this job and just starting off, Michigan wasn't even close to this.
No, not even close. I remember vivid conversations with you and amongst other amongst other Michigan fans, and it's like, okay, well, Notre Dame or Michigan are not going to be anywhere near contention until we get a quarterback.
Yep.
And Michigan finally has one.
Finally did, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, and has that quarterback, but still really hasn't had a major games where he's had to rely on that quarterback. They still rely on running the football.
Oh, sure.
But that kind of gets me to my next thing with Michigan, kind of leading up to a little bit of pregame conversation for the game next week. Is I think Michigan needs to do a better job of getting balanced offensively for McCarthy. I mean, you can't just. I understand that they can run the ball on teams, and like they did in the Penn State game where they completely dominated Penn State. I mean, when you run the ball every single play of the second half, that tells me that they have all the confidence in the world that their defense is not going to give up anything to Penn State, and they didn't, and they just dominated that game. But I'm looking at the Maryland game from yesterday, and kind of the same thing. I understand they threw the ball a little bit more. McCarthy made some, kind of some boneheaded throws, turned the ball over. But to me, that when you don't have any balance at all in your offense, and you're asking him to throw in obvious passing situations and drop back in third and longs all the time, that's when those turnovers are going to happen. That's when the team's defenses are going to dial up the blitz. He's going to be rushed out of there. He's going to have to make perfect throws, perfect reads. To me, they have to be more balanced, set up play action, and that's where they're kind of at their best. Especially that's when McCarthy's at his best, is when he's coming off the play action and going through his progression. But I don't know. But I think also when you have such a big game, this Ohio State game is obviously everything for them. You don't want to show your hand too much.
No.
You win. They get out of it. They win the game. It reminded me a lot of last year's game against Illinois. It was just like they couldn't get anything going against Illinois. Obviously, the injury to Corum last year during that played a huge factor in that game. But they survived it, and then they came out against Ohio State. And I think I was a little bit worried going into that because I'm like, Jesus, we can't even. It took a Jake Moody field goal as time's expiring to get through Illinois on our home field. And then they come back against Ohio State, and they have we see plays that we haven't seen all season long. They're doing things on the defensive side of the ball that we haven't seen all. So that's where, I think Michigan's coaching staff is just to me they are way beyond Ohio State's coaching staff.
Yeah.
So.
We all know how big of a fan you are of Ryan Day.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, I honestly like the guy. You can't fucking. You love him. We kick his ass. So.
You love him. So that's the perfect lead or segue into kind of giving you our preview of the Michigan-Ohio State game. This one's at Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
So, and as the thumbnail and the title suggests, this is what we're kind of focusing the show on today, guys and gals. So, yeah, with both undefeated, which I think if you would have asked any one of the fan bases, this is the way you wanted it.
Sure.
You and I broke down both team schedules, and I don't think, if I remember correctly, we both chose Michigan to be undefeated up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think you and I both, or maybe one of us, chose Notre Dame to beat Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
That was probably me.
Mm-hmm.
But now that we're here, I mean, this is for everything right now, and I'm 100% agree that both of these teams are far beyond Iowa right now, even though Iowa scored some points. But
yeah, I mean, I don't honestly. I think this is kind of the same situation as last year. Like, whoever wins this game Saturday between Michigan and Ohio State, they can lay an egg and lose to Iowa in that championship game, and I still think they are in the playoff.
But
especially with what happened with Florida State last night.
Yeah, it sucks. It sucks for their quarterback, sucks for everybody down there, because the whole thing was Florida State's back. They're finally back. But no, this is and thank goodness this is the last year that this format's like this, because you shouldn't have a championship game where I guarantee it's going to be at least a 20-point spread.
Sure.
no matter which team makes it through. Iowa's defense, very, very good. Iowa's offense, not good at all.
Horrible.
I mean, just terrible.
That's the thing. I mean, Iowa defense really, really good. The problem is they can't hold Michigan or Ohio State under 17 points, and if they can't do that, then there's no way that they're not going to score. They're not going to score in double digits against either one of those defenses. So it's going to be like a close to a 20-point spread between regardless of what team it is against them.
At least I would honestly. I would lean more towards like the 23.5, 24.5. But we're kind of putting the cart before the horse here. I mean, we've got the game is your fan base, Ohio State's fan base. They call it the game, which they in this case is 100% correct. You have the best two teams, obviously in the Big Ten.
Oh, for sure.
Two of the top 5. Two of the top 4, two of the top 3, depending on where they're going to shuffle them. And this is, if I don't care if you're a Michigan fan, I don't care if you're an Ohio State fan. Hell, I'm a Notre Dame fan, and I'm excited for this game. I want to see, in the past 2 years, we've kind of had the same lead up.
Sure.
But I think this year it's a different Ohio State team. You don't have C.J. Stroud. Obviously, he's balling out in Houston. But this is, it seems to me like this is a better defense Ohio State has than the past couple years. The one thing I'm not looking forward to, because this is big noon kickoff, if Gus Johnson calls Marvin Harrison Jr. Maserati Marv, I'm going to lose my mind, because he doesn't say it just once.
Yeah.
He says it over. Maserati Marv. I was like, yeah, it was cool. Like the first 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
But every Ohio State game, Maserati Marv makes an appearance. So Gus Johnson, if you are watching, I'm sure Marvin Harrison Jr. loves the nickname. But can we tone it back on how many times we use it? Okay, it's like it's too good.
Yeah,
it's too good, and you keep trying to overuse it. So put that one in your pocket. Drop it maybe once a half.
Sure.
And I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah.
But in my opinion, Notre Dame gave Michigan a perfect blueprint on how to slow down Maserati, because he was held like 3 catches for under 50 yards.
Yeah.
And Michigan has the secondary to do that.
Michigan has a very good secondary. To me, this kind of goes back to where I think Michigan didn't want to show much of their hand in this Maryland game. But you have Baby Tua, quarterback for Maryland, very, very good.
Loves to throw the ball to the other team, though.
Yes, but very, very, very good quarterback, very capable of making all the throws. Obviously, has played a lot of games.
Yes.
Has a lot of experience. And Michigan was able to they didn't really throw anything exotic at him. They did in big situations. You look at the safety, the 2 safeties they had in the game. Those were big situations. But for the most part, they kind of just rushed 3-4 at him and let him have all day back there to throw. And I don't care how good your secondary is. If you give them all day, receivers are going to get open. Sure. And these Ohio State receivers that they have, they're going to get open if you give them all day. So to me, you have Kyle McCord, who I don't think he's definitely not C.J. Stroud.
No.
Definitely not C.J. Stroud. Michigan has to dial it up on him, and they have to make him as uncomfortable as they can and just try to mix it up, because they have so much depth on that defensive line, and they can rotate guys in, so they should never have issues with guys not being fresh. And to me, it is get after him, dial it up, and because I don't think you have Marvin Harrison Jr. I don't give a shit what you throw at him. He's the best wide receiver in college football. He is going to make plays.
Yes.
So you have to get at the quarterback. You have to try to make him get rid of the ball quick. You have to try to make him be inaccurate. And that's what I think Michigan does defensively here on Saturday to kind of take away from that. Look, Harrison's going to make his plays. He's going to, when this game is all said and done, he probably has a touchdown. He probably goes for over 70, 80 yards. That's just the kind of player he is. But if you can slow him, if you can keep him at that and then slow down all the other guys, not let Mbakwa or whatever his name is.
What's the tight end?
and Stover.
That dude, geez.
I mean, they got weapons.
Yeah.
They have really all their main weapons from last year back, and then they still have Henderson as a running back who was a stud, and he wasn't available last year in that Michigan game because of injury. So they have him. So they have the weapons, but I think right now the one person on Ohio State's roster that just hasn't really proven himself to be very good to this point is Kyle McCord, and I think Michigan has to do a really, really good job of making him as uncomfortable as they can.
100%.
And what I expect out of this game is I think it's going to be more of a low scoring game.
Yeah.
I want to.
I think we've said that the past 2 years.
Yeah.
And
well, and for the most part, Michigan's done a good job of holding Ohio State to where they want to hold them. I mean, those 2 years of C.J. Stroud being the quarterback and all those weapons that they had at receiver, and you're keeping them in the 20s. Michigan just ran the football on them 2 years in a row now. I don't think that's going to happen this year against their defense now. I mean, they can still run the ball with success, but I don't think I'm going to see 3 or 4 touchdowns that go for over 50, 60 yards like we have here, in recent years. So we'll see. I mean, that's the thing about this game is you're going to get the best shot from both of them, and it's just anything can happen. But I think if I'm betting on this game, I think it's going to be a very, very close game, a very tight game, and could definitely come down to who has the ball last. And I mean it should be an exciting one.
Yeah, speaking of that, I want to check the over-under here. You would think as a good host I would already done that. All right. And it still kills me this is a noon game.
Yeah.
Like, how awesome would this be to...
Tradition, man. Yeah. It's always been that way.
Yeah, but still. It'd be really cool if it was a...
I like them because these games make me nervous. Someone you can just get up and get them over with right off the bat, and then you can kind of decide on how the rest of your day is going to go.
Well, there isn't an over/under that I can find, but Michigan's favored by 4 right now. Michigan's
favored by 4. I would expect that maybe goes down to
it might cruise to 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5, 2.5. Somewhere there, 3.
I mean, hey, when you actually turn your mic the right way, it sounds better. But yeah, I was kind of expecting it to at least have a spread here. Even on FanDuel, there's no spread. Again, please hold
here.
This
looking on to over under 47.5.
47.5.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like that. That's it's basically, if you want to think about it, both teams scoring in 24.
Yeah.
So when you said that, you mentioned that, I think this is going to go.
I think these are. You can make a very, very good argument that these are the 2 best defenses in all of college football, and
with the exception of maybe Iowa.
Yeah.
But I is kind of a neutral party here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm rooting and wanting that good game.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And if it is a close game, like the spread and the over/under are suggesting, then I think we're in for a good one.
Mm-hmm.
As a Michigan fan, you're probably hoping for a continuation, a three-peat, if you will, of the last two years, and this would be the ultimate Michigan thing to do.
Yeah.
All this adversity, all this finger pointing, all this speculation, whatever you want to call it, and then just to drop dick and be like, yeah. Okay.
I mean, it's the best thing that you can do, right? I mean, you don't have your head coach. There's been so much spotlight on this team for not the right reasons.
Yeah.
And, I mean, all these I look at all these guys that came back, this offensive line, Blake Corum, Mike Sanister on the defense, like so many big-time names that came back when they didn't necessarily have to come back. They probably would be playing on Sunday right now, a vast majority of them, and they came back and – like, I mean, this is everything. This is what you This is what you sign up for right here. I mean, this is the situation. You roll into your biggest rival. Both of you are undefeated. Both of you are ranked in the top 4, and both of you have the opportunity to ruin the other one's season.
Absolutely.
I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
And I'm sure, as the betting man that you are, I'm sure you're happy giving the 4 points.
Yeah.
And which, if it does creep down to 3.5, I think you'd be even happier to take that. But are you smashing the over, hitting the under, or just staying away from it?
I'm staying away from it because I think that this can go either way. Obviously, if it hits in other years, if it hits the over, I would have been kind of scared to say that. But if it hits the over, I think it's a good thing for Michigan, because I think Michigan's going to try to run the football on them and be very, very physical, and I think that they still can do that with this offensive line. And I think you're going to see, and that's the other thing that we didn't see at all yesterday, and it kind of has me a little bit worried about McCarthy. Is McCarthy 100% healthy? He's taken some major hits, but I think that this is the game here. You leave it all on the table. I think you see McCarthy very, very involved in the running game. And if you go back to last season when he got involved in the running game, that was when that defensive Ohio State just could not stop them. When you have McCarthy as a runner, all that does is put another blocker out there. And this Michigan team, offensive line, receivers, tight ends, all the way down the line, they block better than anybody in football. So I think McCarthy is going to be a very, very major focal point on Michigan's success with him running the football. There's going to be some design runs in there. There's going to be some read options, and there's going to be a lot of opportunity for him to run the football. And if they can get that going, they're going to be very hard to stop.
I honestly think they have to, or he has to, for one. I think this has to be, I'm not going to say his signature win, but I think it's coming close to time where, and we've seen the last couple of years where they have opened the offense a little bit. They have, he was throwing the ball a lot more. And he obviously can.
Yeah.
He obviously can.
Yeah.
And I'm sure 100% of him as his person was like, yo, you want me to go for 450?
Yeah.
Because I can. Yeah. Is that the style that Michigan wants to play? I don't think so. I think it's leading more towards what you're describing, but
and the thing too is, like, we talked about it. I've talked about it so many times with them is, Donovan Edwards, who everybody talks about Blake Corum. Blake Corum is the touchdown guy. He is the guy that they ride and die on him. And why wouldn't you? I mean, he's one of the best running backs in college football. He's probably damn good chance he's going to break, Thomas's all-time record for touchdowns at Michigan, which is insane. I mean, to think about,
because he went over 50.
Yeah, now he's at 51.
Was it 55?
55 is the record, and but for me, I've always been on Edwards, and I've said it a lot. Like, he's so good in the passing game. He catches the ball out of the backfield really, really well, and they haven't done it this year.
No.
And I just keep on thinking, like, all right, are they saving this? And are we going to see a lot of those two on the field at the same time? They're going to get him involved in the passing game, because all you got to do is give him a little bit of space, and he's gone. I mean, he's got the speed. Ohio State knows that. They saw number 7 a lot chasing him last year. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what they dial up. I think with Michigan, they haven't showed what really anything. I mean, and that's kind of the benefit that you get, right? When you don't. I mean, everybody can sit there and say, "Oh, they haven't fucking played against anybody. They haven't played against anybody." That was the knock on them last year. They didn't play anybody. Well, they fucking beat the fuck out of Ohio State in the biggest game. So does it really matter?
No.
So my thing is, you don't play anybody, you don't have to show all your cards. So then you go into the biggest game of the season, and that's when you show. And I don't know. That's where I'm kind of at. I think you're going to see a lot of McCarthy involved, and I think you're going to see Edwards more involved than what he has been. And then obviously, you're going to ride on Blake Corum, and especially when they get down into those, goal to go, possessions. Obviously, you're going to ride on Corum. He's the one that gets in the end zone 9 times out of 10. So. I'm excited about it. It should be one hell of a football game.
I agree. I 100% agree. And like I said, I don't have a dog in the fight, but I am I am stoked because we've gotten here, and this is what we've anticipated. This is what we've been waiting for, and the eve is finally here. The eve is finally here. Well, 2Ks, let's touch a little bit on some NFL action here, my friend. What do you say?
Yeah.
All right, let's start off with my new team, which you missed last week. I've officially removed myself from Bears Nation and have firmly placed myself amongst the brand new Lions fans. And I thought, well, shit, what a great week to jump ship, because the Bears are up by 12 in the fourth quarter. They actually started using Justin Fields the way I kind of think all of us were assuming they were going to, or they should. And look where it gets you. Look where it gets you.
Which was just shocking to me, right? Like, he comes back after dislocated thumb, been out for 4 weeks. Like, you would have thought, like, if there was ever a time where you kind of just ease him back into it a little bit, and maybe not, have him carrying the ball 18 times like he did today, it would be this first game back. And no, I was completely wrong. I thought maybe this would be more of the approach where you kind of just ease them back into it. And that's what I don't understand with the Bears is, like, the first 2-3 weeks of the season when they were so bad, when everybody was talking about Fields as, he's not the guy, you have to draft a different quarterback, and it was like, did they really give him a chance? I mean, I remember I was at the Bears and Packers game in week 1, and they have maybe like one designed run for the guy.
Yeah.
In the whole game, and then fast forward to the next week, and it's the Tampa Bay game, and he has like 3 or 4 carries throughout the whole game, and it's just like, all right, what the fuck are we doing? Because this is maybe the best running quarterback in all of the NFL. He's a big physical guy. He can take the hits. Like, he reminds me a lot of Cam Newton. Not quite as big as Cam Newton, but that's what he kind of reminds me of, and should just be a goal line beast, because I don't understand why you don't run more things to him. But and then for his passing game only gets better when he starts doing what he does best, and that's running, getting out of the pocket, and making plays with his feet. And they didn't do that. Well, then today they did that, and it was a completely different Bears offense.
100%. And Bears almost came back until Aiden Hutchinson decided to strip sack, push the offensive lineman into the ball where he kicks it, and it goes out the back of the end zone.
Yep.
And getting back to the same old Lions, this was a game that the Lions would have lost.
Right. Yep.
But they, for as bad of a game as Jared Goff had, first time he's thrown 3 picks, I think it's like the second time in his career.
Yep.
And to bounce back and have the wherewithal and just the moxie and the nuts.
Yep.
And we saw David Montgomery just go nuts. Where if they would have had Jahmyr Gibbs in when he made that last, kind of 14-yard run, that would have actually hit my parlay, which would have been awesome. But no, I end up 11 yards short. So thank you, MCDC, for that. But no, I really like this Lions team, and it's the first time they've been 8-2 since like 1950. So Lions are for real, dude.
Yeah, they are absolutely for real. And today was just like you said. I mean, Goff plays so bad. He has 3 interceptions, and they fumble a kick return, give it right back to the Bears, and in their territory, and just they battled through all of that. And I mean, this was to me. I mean, I understand the Lions. You kind of just take away that Ravens game where they were so bad, but this is the next worst game that they played all season. You're facing a Bears team that a lot of people consider maybe the second worst team in the NFL, and they come out and they just look like shit on their home field.
Yeah.
And like you said, this is the Lions team that they lose these games every single year. This is the normal Lions that that you're used to. They shoot themselves in the foot more than anybody, and no, they won it. They found a way to win those games, and that's what good teams do. Is even on your bad days, you still find ways to win games, and that's what they did. And this is why they are still one of the scariest teams in the NFC. And with their identity and the way that they play, now their defense needs to get a little bit better, but the way that this offense plays and the fucking nuts that Dan Campbell has, this is a team that you do not want to see. That you do not want to see them in the playoffs, because. No. Dan Campbell has these guys, they play with their hair on fire. They're fucking aggressive, and they're going to go down swinging against everybody that they play against, and that's not the team that you want to see in the playoffs.
No, and we got a end of the first quarter in Vikings-Broncos, 3-0 Broncos. But the Vikings it looks like they're on the 3-yard line to start the second quarter. Steelers-Browns, who cares? Texans-Cardinals, we already mentioned. C.J. Stroud not only looking to run away with the offensive rookie of the year, but could possibly be the MVP. I mean, this kid is playing absolutely bananas right now. And another big win for the Texans. Let's see, check the box score here. I'm interested to see how Kyler did. With 16 points,
Kyler was pretty good today.
20 of 30, 214, 1 touchdown and a pick. And Texans, C.J. Stroud, 27 of 37, 336, 2 touchdowns, however, 3 interceptions, which probably equaled or damn near equaled his season total for interceptions. But yeah, it was one hell of a game. Jags bounce back against the Titans. Titans are dead, even though we did see kind of a Will Levis kind of coming on the scene party, if you will. But yeah, that team's in trouble. Kind of seeing, that's not a traditional Mike Vrabel team. So I'll be interested to see how that moves forward. Kind of a tight one here. The Raiders at the Dolphins. I figured the Dolphins would just barrel roll the Raiders. But new coach for the Raiders. I think it's kind of where they're at right now. This Dolphins team is still a lot better. So not a big shocker there. Dak has a hell of a game against the Panthers, which he should. Let's check the box on that one. And 25 of 38, 189, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, which is kind of the always have to check that with Dak. And 2Ks, there's people saying that this is the best Dak Prescott they've seen. And as far as these last handful of weeks, it's kind of hard to argue that.
Sure,
he's not giving the ball away. He's playing very good football. And I think once he kind of found Brandon Cooks there, it kind of added one more wrinkle, one more element. And we've seen both him and CeeDee Lamb kind of be the beneficiaries in that. So I'm extremely happy for all those Cowboy fans, Rich, 2Ks. So yeah, and again, that is a team that they should barrel roll.
Absolutely.
Barrel roll. Packers get a big win at home against the Chargers.
That was a huge win for them. Huge win for them.
I honestly, there is no way in hell this Chargers team can be this bad. They're 4-6.
No, it's.
I think Brandon Staley is.
It's got to be it for him. I mean, right?
Yeah.
You have Justin Herbert's too damn good. They got too much talent on offense. That's what this whole situation. I feel bad for Herbert, and I feel really, really bad for Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
Because Keenan Allen is an absolute fucking stud.
Allen had 10 catches, goes over 100 yards again with a touchdown.
People don't even talk about Keenan Allen, and to me, I think it's easy. He's a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL right now. Like the guy.
Did you see his catch for 10,000 yards in the league?
Yeah.
Insane.
Yeah.
Absolutely insane.
The guy is just a workhorse, and it's like that's what you see on a weekly basis is 9-10 catches from him, and there's some really, really good receivers out there, obviously, but that have a lot more God-given talent, ability, speed, athleticism than him. But that dude just knows how to get open, and if anything touches his hands, he catches it.
And he probably has the best beard game.
He does have a great beard game
in the wide receiver game. But let's not just bag on the Chargers here, 2Ks. Jordan Love had a hell of a game. 27 of 40, 322, and 2 touchdowns and no interceptions, 2Ks. That's been his bugaboo. Why they're not getting Aaron Jones the ball more, I don't know. Did not watch any of this game. He had 4 carries for 14 yards. And had 1 catch for 3 yards. So I don't know if he went out with an injury, but it seems like they're just not really getting him the ball.
No.
Giants, big win over the Commanders, with a quarterback that still lives with his parents. Quarterback that still lives with his parents. Could you imagine Thanksgiving dinner at their house? Tommy DeVito, Paisan, 18 to 26, 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. Saquon, 14 carries, 83 yards, and 4 catches, 57 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So yeah, this was a game I did not have circled to even pay attention to, because the Giants stink, and the Commanders have traded away, it seems like, every single guy on their defense, kind of like the Bears did last year. However, the Bears traded for one of them and then signed him to an extension, where if they would have just signed their guys from last year to an extension, we probably wouldn't be in this situation. But Paisan, good win. Good win. 49ers Bucks. I think this went according to how all of us
the Niners are back. The Niners slid there for a couple weeks. You obviously don't have the best offensive lineman in Trent Williams on the field with injury, and then a guy like Deebo Samuel. I mean, those are the 2 guys that I think really make that team go. Even though you have talent like Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk, those kind of guys. But Deebo Samuel and Trent Williams are the kind of the glue to that team. They're what hold everybody together. You see them every single time that they're playing in games. Those are the 2 that are leading the whole team out on the field.
With the boombox.
Yes, those are the 2 guys. So when you don't have them, that's kind of what those couple weeks there where they really scuffled and kind of looked like shit. They had the same thing, in common with both of them. Either one of those guys were on the field. So getting those guys back, this Niners team has been right back to where I think we kind of all see them being at the end of the season. To me, they're the best team. They're the best team in the NFC for sure.
Brock Purdy has almost more touchdown passes than incompletions in this game.
Yeah.
He went 21 of 25, 333, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
He was awesome today.
21 completions for over 300 yards is insane.
And he hit the over in rushing yards today, which made me in my parlay made me about $700. So
yeah. But McCaffrey finds the end zone again, so life is good. Everything's back to normal.
Yeah.
Ayuk has probably the biggest game of them all: 5 catches, 156 yards, and a touchdown. So it's good to see that. Good to see they're back on.
That offense is just so scary good.
Yeah.
Tomorrow night's game is going to be awesome. It's a Super Bowl rematch with the Eagles and Chiefs. But those 2 teams don't even have the talent that this 49ers offense has. And
if the 49ers would have had their starting quarterback last year for more than 4 plays, it's a whole different story.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. If Brock Purdy plays at the level that he plays at today, I don't think anybody in football can beat them.
No. Bills have a get-right game against the Jets. Zach Wilson was replaced and probably should have, to be honest with you, 2Ks, probably should have put the punter in, because that was about the best offense they had. 32-6, Bills win. Rams get a win at home against the Seahawks. If I saw my alerts correctly, Geno Smith left that game. So I don't know how much you want to take away from that. But, we've got tomorrow night Eagles at Chiefs. Eagles at Chiefs. We have a 2.5 spread here, 2Ks. Kansas City is favored. Kansas City's favored. Your take, and now let's give some preface here. This is going to be a get-right game for Travis Kelce, because not only is T Swift in the building, Papa T Swift, Mama T Swift, Papa Kelce, Mama Kelce, the whole family's going to be at this game. So if you're a betting person, which we are, Travis Kelce finds the end zone, has over 100 yards receiving, and over, I'll go 7.5 catches. That's my line for him. Now, with that being said, who wins and by how much?
This one's tough. Yeah, it's hard to go against the Chiefs in this one. It's primetime game, Monday Night Football, obviously. Big-time situations. This is when you get the best of Patrick Mahomes every single time. Then Travis Kelce on that. So you think, you're going to go with the Chiefs. But I'm telling you, man, this Eagles team is just... Jalen Hurts is playing the best football, and his season that he had last year where he was just phenomenal. I think he's even topping it this year. He's playing even better. A.J. Brown has been the best wide receiver in the NFL, with the exception of maybe Tyreek Hill.
Tyreek Hill, yeah.
But I still probably give the nod to A.J. Brown
consistent
on that, because A.J. Brown is just... he's just a friggin' beast, man.
Yeah,
and then
7
you got
games in a row, over 150 receiving yards or something crazy like that.
And what the Eagles didn't have last year, their running game was pretty good, but it was mostly Jalen Hurts doing all that running. Well, now he doesn't have to be that runner because they have Swift in that offense, and that's what makes them even better, and why I think they're the better football team. They're a better football team this year from what they were last. Probably the best offensive line in football, Eagles. But you got all of those Swifties back in town. The Chiefs are the home team. I can't go away from the Chiefs in this one. I think Travis Kelce is going to have a huge game. I think Patrick Mahomes is going to have a huge game. I think this is going to be a very high-scoring game. I think it's going to be kind of a shootout. But I think the Chiefs win this one.
And this is a Chiefs defense that's probably the best defense Patrick Mahomes has ever had.
Absolutely, for sure.
And I honestly think that's going to be the X factor.
Yeah,
is they're able to get the turnover that wins the game.
And the Eagles' secondary has been a little bit shaky to this point in the season. I mean, that's one thing that they have given up is they've given up some yards to opposing quarterbacks, and that to me, any kind of a you give up any kind of, if you have any weakness at all, especially in your pass coverage, Patrick Mahomes is going to find and exploit
100%.
Exploit that, and in these huge situations. And this is the biggest game of the season for both of these teams.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
it's a rematch of last year's Super Bowl. I think you see a lot of similarities to last year's Super Bowl, and
there's a lot of very similar faces.
Yeah,
a lot of very similar faces. Well, 2Ks, it's that time, and it's now that we have you back, we can actually do a top 5.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of silly for me to sit here and try to do a top 5 by myself. But this week we're doing top 5, aside from turkey, 2Ks, top 5 Thanksgiving foods. Top 5 Thanksgiving foods. Start us off with your number 5, 2Ks.
Number 5, I'm going to go with... It's on everybody's plate on Thanksgiving, and it's not that I don't like it, but I don't know. Some people rave about it like it's their favorite thing on Thanksgiving to eat. I'm gonna go with stuffing. Mm-hmm. I like it. It's obvious. It's gonna be on my plate.
Yeah.
But it's not it's what I normally eat first to get it off my plate, so I can go attack these next 4 things that are on my list.
Now, are you stovetop stuffing guy or homemade stuffing guy?
It doesn't matter to me. No, it doesn't matter.
All right. And number 4?
Number 4, I'm going to go dessert-wise, and I'm not a big dessert guy, so that's why it falls, later on my list. It's not pumpkin pie, but I love apple pie.
Ooh, I like it.
I'll have apple pie at number 4.
Now, is obviously with Cool Whip?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Or
for sure.
Ready
Whip. Ice cream, too.
Yeah,
I mean, put some ice cream on there. Yeah, for sure.
Vanilla?
Yeah. Oh, it's got to be vanilla. Vanilla with all pie.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And anything else is just insanity.
Yeah.
Just insanity. Yeah. Number 3.
Number 3, I am going to go with... Can't go with turkey, huh?
No, that's kind of a staple. Kind of a staple. That, and I haven't met a single person that likes the turkey over the accoutrement.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
My last 3 things after turkey are my 3 favorite sides on Thanksgiving. So third is my third on the list. I'm gonna go with corn souffle.
Ooh, I've never had corn souffle.
Corn souffle. Oh, fucking amazing. It's like fucking cornbread. I mean.
Oh, okay.
And then you just add butter onto it. Butter it all up and. Good.
right.
Good stuff.
Number 2.
Number 2, I can go either way on both of these. I love both of them. But at number 2, I'm going to go with mashed potatoes.
I dig it. I dig it. Gravy or no gravy? Butter?
Absolutely gravy.
Okay.
Butter and gravy. I mean, put it all on there.
I didn't think you were a communist, but I just wanted the 2K crew to know that
I
you are
have
not.
my whole. If you see my plate, there's gravy on all of it.
Of course.
So I have everything, and then I just gravy it all.
Mm-hmm.
Some people just get their taters.
No,
I'm on it all gravied up.
No.
It's just like, if you breakfast, I have sausage gravy
Goes on
my
everything.
entire breakfast. Yes, absolutely. So fuck yeah, gravy.
All right, and your number 1.
Number 1, mac and cheese.
Yeah.
I love macaroni and cheese. Bake it.
I would say the mac and cheese has to be homemade.
Yes,
It can't be Blue
No.
Box. It can't be
No.
Velveeta.
Nope.
No, it's got to be
Gotta have
homemade.
that baked hard shell cheese
Yes.
over top of it.
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's hard to argue any of those selections. 2K, it's hard to argue. And this is honestly the time of year that now that I'm a diabetic, I hate.
Yeah.
Because whether it's obviously Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, 99% of the things that are the good things are just extremely carb riddled. So have to be very careful. Can't eat a whole lot of it.
Sure.
But I do partake. I do partake. And my number 5 is, and this is something up until recently I didn't like. But since my wife started gardening, her green bean casserole with the green beans out of the garden are magnificent. It puts it up to a whole other level. Whereas before it's like, all right, this is mush.
Yeah.
It's
You're talking like with the can.
Yeah. And then
I agree.
You kind of, the only reason you really eat it is for the onions on top. No, this whole thing's a banger. Whole thing is a banger. My number 4, I'm going dessert as well, but I'm going a little bit different. I'm one of the weirdos that likes pumpkin pie.
I like pumpkin pie. I'll eat a piece of it every now and again, but I'm just like apple pie number 1. Now, pumpkin roll?
That's where I'm going. Kristen just made I think 6 of them today. So the house smells fantastic.
I bet.
House smells fantastic. So very, very excited for that. Number 3, I'm gonna throw you a curveball here, 2Ks. Number 3, I got ham. Like I like turkey, but after like a couple pieces, I'm good. I'm good unless it's smoked turkey and I can get down on the turkey leg. Then we're talking whole other experience. But as far as just whether you bake it, deep fry it, I'm more of a dark meat guy.
Sure.
Same with chicken. So it's one of those things that it is what it is. It's a staple. Do I enjoy it? Yes, but it would be like number 7 on this list. But if there's a ham, I'm throwing down at dinner or lunch, because we usually have it during lunchtime. I'm coming back to that for dinner, and I'm probably coming back to that again for lunch on Friday. So that's how much I really, and same thing on Christmas. I would much prefer a ham than a turkey.
Sure.
So the only thing that tops that is my parents do steaks. So obviously that's a game changer.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
And steaks are in a whole other category besides ham and turkey. But my number 2 has got to be, I got to go mashed potatoes here too. I got to go mashed potatoes. And my number 1, I'm taking your number 5 and putting it number 1.
Okay.
That's how much I like stuffing. Okay. Now, with me, I'm weird. I'm the same as you. Everything on my plate has gravy, unless there's ham, because you don't put turkey gravy on ham. But I mean, you can.
You can. I mean, I'm not going to judge you for it, but
I'll judge the shit out of you. And this is coming from a guy who, his grandfather would put gravy on cake.
I can't do that. No, I will judge you for that. That's no.
And it was always German chocolate cake with like the coconut frosting. That was both my grandpa and my dad's favorite
Yeah,
cake.
there's some weird things. My dad puts sugar on mac and cheese, and I'm like,
Why?
what are you doing? Like, and for me, like, I love mac and cheese so
Yeah.
much. So when you fuck with it, it just irritates me. You know, I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it has everything it needs. It doesn't need anything more.
No.
Like maybe if you want to put a little pepper on it or something, I can get
Sure.
down with that.
Yeah.
But fucking sugar? No.
True,
No,
you're
I can't. It's-
Papa 2K is your. That's
no, that's fucked up. That's not. Nope.
That's over the line.
Yeah.
That's over the line.
Yep.
But
I've never understood it.
If you look at my plate, especially when I was a kid, the mashed potatoes, the corn, the stuffing, the gravy, all mixed together, kind of like a turkey pot pie, without the crust, on my plate. Love that. So you get a little bit of everything in every bite, and you don't have to make multiple stabs with the fork. You're streamlining the whole process
Sure.
here.
Yeah.
And that way too, you get the correct gravy ratio on everything.
For sure.
So yeah, Turbo's Thanksgiving eating is whole other level.
Yeah. It was
Or or even one more level of being a fat ass. Whichever.
I'm not.
But
Yeah,
tis the season to be a fat ass.
for sure. I mean, and look, I fucking just love food. So any conversation that we can have where you basically are like, your dinner plate is like a science project, I can get down with that shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah.
Yeah, and before we get out of here, 2K crew, one thing I always like to remind people is, especially when it comes to Thanksgiving and Christmas, it's not about what's on the table, but who's around the table. So keep that in mind, because there could be someone sitting at your table that this could be the last holiday they could be around for. So as annoying as they can be, as weird shit as they do, like put gravy on their cake, let them do it.
Yeah.
Let them be you. They're not shoving it in your face, making you eat it. So let's all enjoy our loved ones this time of year, 2K crew. And is there anything else we missed here, 2Ks?
No.
It's good to have you back.
It's good to be back.
It's good to have you back.
And I hope next Sunday we're talking and Michigan has a win under their belt and punching their third straight, Big 10 championship
You said
ticket.
punch, and I thought you were going a whole other way with it.
No. But it's punching their ticket to the third straight, Big 10 championship game. Hopefully win a third straight win against Ohio State. All good things. That's what I want for Thanksgiving. That's what I want for my birthday. I got my birthday. I'll be 32 here in a couple days.
Damn. Old ass motherfucker.
Uh-huh.
But no, and this is, again, getting back to the Lions. Like, I'm literally gargling MCDC's balls tonight. But this is the first Thanksgiving, I think, that Lions fans can get really excited.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I mean, a huge opponent. You're playing. I understand that the Packers, have not been as good, but they're coming off of a big win today. They're not necessarily playing for a playoff spot at this point in the season, but they're playing for, to build off of. They're a very, very young team.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So to me, they're building.
The youngest team.
They're trying to figure out, is Love the answer as their quarterback of the future, and just get a lot of reps for all these younger kids. And
is Coach LaFleur the long-term answer?
Yeah, that's a very, very, very good question.
There's a lot of not only Green Bay Packer fans, but NFL fans are like, man, I don't know how good this guy really is now that Rodgers is out of town. So,
but the thing I always say to that, and I don't think it gets talked about enough, especially like in mainstream media and how they fucking twist and turn anything that they want, but they don't ever. Aaron Rodgers wasn't doing very well before Matt LaFleur got there.
True.
And then won 2 MVPs with him.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I think, look, head coaching job is a lot easier when you have that answer at quarterback. Fucking ask Bill Belichick that question right now. So,
bingo.
Is Bill Belichick not a good coach? Or is it just because he doesn't have a fucking quarterback? So, I think that's the thing. That's the problem with being the head coach in the NFL and being the head coach of anything.
Yeah.
If you're winning, everything is great. But when you're losing, everybody wants to point the finger at you. They're not going to point the finger at Jordan Love, who's in his first season as a starting quarterback, and the guy that they traded up to draft. They traded to be the replacement of an Aaron Rodgers. Nobody's going to point the finger at him. They're going to point the finger at the guy that's coaching and the guy that's calling the plays.
Yep.
And that's what he signed up for. But I think it's very, very unfair to judge and say that he's not the answer off of 10 games of this season with Jordan Love and just say, well, he can't do it without Aaron Rodgers. Well, Aaron Rodgers couldn't do it without Matt LaFleur.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. That's where I'm at. That's where I stand on that. Is I think he's an awfully good coach. He's come from a tree, an NFL tree that has just put NFL coaching masterminds out there.
Mm-hmm.
I think he knows his shit, and I think he's going to figure out ways to get this team back to where they need to be. And there's a good chance that Jordan Love's not the answer. And I think Jordan Love will be the guy that leaves before he leaves.
And if you think about it, I know we've kind of taken a weird turn here, but Aaron Rodgers last year had problems with this same offensive line,
mm-hmm.
with the same receiving core, with the same backfield. And you're expecting this marvelous,
mm-hmm.
just out of nowhere performance from Jordan Love.
Yeah. And name one receiver on that team that is a difference maker.
Yeah, none. No.
I mean, they're probably the most promising player is their rookie from Michigan State and Jaden Reed.
Yeah.
Who to this point I think has looked the best and has maybe the most upside. But is he ever going to be a number one option in a successful offense? No.
No.
He's a very, very good slot guy that they can use, but he's not a number one receiver that you build around. That to me is what they need to get. And then you roll into this, you lose Aaron Rodgers, but then you also lose maybe the second, third best left tackle in the game in Bakhtiari, and he goes down with a knee injury
again.
And so it's just like a lot of things have went wrong. Aaron Jones has not really been able to get it going this year. Hamstring issues beginning of the season. Defensively, I know there's a lot of people out there that keep on saying that it's time to get rid of the D coordinator, but to me the defense has not been the issue. It's been an offensive problem where Love can't really get it going, and they don't really have anybody that sticks out on that offensive side of the ball that is a true number one playmaker that you can just rely on. They don't have that, and so we'll see. But I'm not ready to give up on LaFleur yet. I think he's done enough in the time that he has been there, and he did enough as far as making Aaron Rodgers that MVP caliber quarterback again, and doing and all that to where he's earned a couple years to figure this shit out and ride this ship, and maybe Jordan Love isn't the answer, and that's why I say Jordan Love will go if they can't figure this out and get this going. Jordan Love will go before LaFleur goes, and I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah, I could not agree more. Well, 2K crew, everyone, let's have a great week. Enjoy your Thanksgiving. We will see you again next Sunday, same bat time, same bat channel, and as always, Jim Rome, we're coming for you.